Hello guys, back again. It's been a few days since I've uploaded a video. I've not been too well, but I had my birthday as well, so I've not really had much free time. As you can see already, if you watched the first FM series video, yeah, I started with MK Dons. I was choosing England, just let it pick a team for me. Ended up with MK Dons, and I will go into detail now on a bit of an update. I've finished my first season. I thought I'd get the first season out of the way. I was going to record maybe every month, but I think maybe when we get up to the higher leagues, maybe do some live comms and stuff like that. But for now, I'll just update you on my journey as I go along playing the game. So let's get the stages. I don't want stages. I want the table. I want the league table. There we go. As you can see, MK Dons, in the end, they did finish off 17th. They probably shouldn't have finished off there. I may have screwed them up a little bit. I just had some struggles. The team was rated one of the better teams. I don't know if it was down to my tactics. I've completely revamped all my tactics now, even though I'm not with the team, but with the team I'm with now, which is Woking. It was pretty much one of the only jobs I could get, but we'll go into that. Gary Megson took the job here, but as you can see, they finished 17th. So if we look at the table here, we go. When I was there, we won 2 games. My record with MK Dons was horrible. 2 games, I struggled with the team, and I didn't get sacked. I could have carried on, but I just made the decision that it wasn't a team that I chose, a team that necessarily I wanted to be with. I would just leave, and this is generally going to be a series which isn't featured around just the team in itself, that I'm going to do as my journey as a manager in the game. So first season was done, I went to Woking, and we'll do the fixtures first, because transfers doesn't really matter, because I didn't have much leeway. So I joined. Where did I join? Where did I join now? Eastleigh. This was my first game. It's a 2-2 draw. And then we ended up going out. We lost 3-0. And I was, when you go to a new team, if you play the game, you will notice that you need to tinker around with the tactics a little bit, and kind of get into a groove of how you want your team to play. And the early games were those stages. It's game again. Hyde, we lost. Drew, 0-0. Lincoln lost 1-0. But Lincoln, I was happy with 1-0. There was a couple of bad performances, but I was happy with that result, because at the end of the day, Lincoln were a team we was 24th when I came, and we stayed 24th for a long period of time. Then we went and beat Stockport. So the whole time I'm fiddling with the tactics, and I don't know how much moral takes a part in the game, but my team's moral was shocking, because of, obviously, they were bottom of the league. They'd had so many bad results, so the moral was really poor. So I had to try and uplift that, and whatever wins I could pick up, that would be happy. I would be very happy with that. We lost them to Forest Green in a close game. We went up first as well. The goal scorer here, Bradley Bob, he's on loan as well, which is a bit of a shame, but he was the top goal scorer for me, 34 and 19. But I think in my time, he when I came, he'd scored 4 goals. So he scored the majority under my tactics, and while I've been there, and he just seemed to fit into the tactics well, and it worked. I don't think we'll be able to sign him. Monetary wise, we are in a poor position. We'll come to finances a little bit later. Let's get back to where we was. I just done Forest Green. We lost to Luton. Luton were again a tough team in the division, and we had such a tiny squad when I came. We could fill the first team and the substitutes, and that was it. So really struggled with the team size, and because we are a part-time club, a lot of the players are on part-time contracts. I struggled with fitness. So a lot of games, I found we became inconsistent. One game you'd be fantastic, but then you'd be poor the next game, because you your fitness was really poor. And I found second halves, we was always stronger in the first half than the second half. And beat Braintree 2-0. Bradley Bob again getting both the goals. Mansfield, Bob again getting all 3 goals. So you could see a repeat. The team seemed to work in the result that he was going to be the key. He was going to be the key because he was going to score all the goals. We drew again, but Bob got the goal. And they went up in this one, if I remember. I played this all in really close proximity at time. I really enjoy Football Manager. I've clocked up something like 300 hours on it now. But I generally play it over a gradual amount of time because I was recording this and I was excited about getting the video out. I really pushed through and I played 15 games in a day. I got back to the stage of when you first get it and you're so addicted to it. We lost the game after, and again, this showed. Gateshead beat us because Bob was such a ridiculous name, but Bob was shut down. They shut him down. He had a poor game, and we failed to score. We couldn't score. The defence played very well, but we failed to score because he had a bad game. And we beat Luton, and this was probably one of the better results we had. What a great result. We beat Luton, they were a topper team, 3-1, and Bob again, hat-trick. This was a bad result, but again, Bob, you will see the whole time here, Bob, if he had a poor game, we seemed to suffer majorly. The whole team, I mean, for 3-0, 7s on 2 defenders, that's not bad. That's probably what you'd want, but the midfield struggled because Bob struggled. It's just unfortunate. And we went and beat Hyde, and this is when this man Giuseppe Sol, he was on loan, and he just come back off a loan, and I put him in because Bob had 2 bad games in a row, and he scored 2 goals. It was fantastic. Alfreton, Sol again getting 1, and you could see sort of the way that the team was playing. I started to fiddle around with tactics at this point because I wanted to try 2 up front because now I had Sol that I thought could score as well. So I did, and I think this is we did bring in a few loans in the transfer period and free transfers, and I will show you them. But Sawyer is probably one of the better players in the team. I will go through the team. There's a lot to get through in this episode. It will be a little bit longer than usual, but there's a lot that's happened since the last one. Lost to Grimsby 2-0, not a good result. Kidderminster again, we beat them 2-1, and Sol now was taking up that burden of being the goal scorer. And he was performing really well, but I had purchased on a free a winger, and I'd got a winger in on loan as well, which was really helping a style of play that I could use in games that I wasn't unsure about. Well, that I wasn't sure about. This was one of the worst results, and at this point we'd been in the drop zone the whole point. I mean, I've had a better record here than the whole of the start of the season. You can see how poor it was. 1 win there in God knows how many games. So if we'd have had this the whole season, we'd have been mid-table, maybe even playoff push. So it was unfortunate, and it was such a struggle because we were so deep in that drop zone, and we lost 3-0 there, and that was an upsetting one. We came back, and this is when I fiddled with a tactic. I felt like when we was off our game, they really punished us, and especially on a forward sense. So this is when I decided to play a more counter-attacking football. And the defence seemed to play well in this, but again, the attack struggled. So went through a poor patch at this point. So Cambridge here now. Cambridge won 1, another draw, same tactic. Stuck with a counter. Macclesfield there, that was also 1-1. Sol scored very late on, but again, Sol came on. Bob had a horrible game. 2-0 here, this is a brilliant one. Bob again, he started to get back on a run again, I think, around this point, and this is probably one of the only reasons why we managed to stay up is these last set of results that I'm going to show you now. And I think it's this one, Nottingham. This is the game when we had a man sent off and we was only 1-0 up. We had a man sent off, but Bob went on to score 2 goals after we had a man sent off, and this was the first time that we pulled out the drop zone, was this game. So you can imagine, if you go all the way up to Islay here, I'd been in the drop zone for that whole period of fixtures. You can imagine I was extremely nervous of just trying to bridge that gap. And then after that we came under the cosh to I think it's Nuneaton as well, who played a pivotal part in this. But we lost to Hereford. It was close down there with us, just 1-0. Quite upsetting again. And then Dartford we lost 1-0 as well. And at this point I changed the tactics again. But at this point I was panicking. I was panicking on the sense that we weren't going to make it. Then we came to Wrexham. And this was one of the most important ones because Wrexham were up there. And they had a goal disallowed. It nearly finished 2-2. And we wouldn't have survived if it had finished 2-2. So, again, Saul had an awesome game. But Bub scored again. He just seemed to find the net. His stats aren't fantastic, but he just always found the net. Another 2-1 victory against Macclesfield. And this is probably the reason why we survived. But Bub and Saul combined together, and this was when I was playing them both up front, and I finally found a system where they worked well together. This is the game. All came down to the last game, and I don't often get extremely nervous when playing this game, but I did. You'll see Adam Newton there was the only one, and Sestor, who really let us down in the defence, and we went 3-1 down, and I didn't know what to do. I was panicking, but I stuck to the tactic I had set out. I stuck to the game plan. I just went on overload, but I stuck to the tactic I had set out, and I had confidence in my team. I'd come off of 2 great wins. I just kept confidence, and in the end, we managed to stay up with the draw. And I'll show you the table now, and it was so tight. See, we went up by a point, but at the point that we was losing 3-1, Nuneaton was winning, drawing, so they was on 53 points and we was on 52, and we needed 2 goals to survive. So it was so difficult. I didn't have a clue, but we come here and my record as a manager has finally improved. Woking are actually a pretty good team. They're still semi-professional, which is something I'd always like to change, but what can you do about it? So go to my profile, and if we look at the finances, as you can see, we're in the red. There's no more you can say than that. I've cut the wages. It was one of the first things I did when I came in because it was over budget, and I mean the budget's, it's not a lot, but I suppose it's quite good for a semi-professional team. So I cut the wages. As you can see there, I'm in my budget by £300, but it's going to be a struggle in terms of I'm going to have to rely on youth players, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. My profile, can I look at my profile? It's not my profile I want to be looking at, but now I've actually won some games. No, it is my profile. So we'll stick to the profile for now. They've just offered me a new contract, so I took that contract. If you look at that, we only won 2 games before. So I won 11 games with Woking. So I feel like there's something we can build on. Then there's something we can work on. And if we look at the squad, I'll do it through the ability. So the player with the best ability is Jack Parkinson, and he's been a strong defender. He's a young defender, and the beauty is he's contracted to us. And also this young lad, Lee Sawyer, 23 as well. He for this level he's brilliant, and he's certainly one of our better players, and he could play a massive part in our future. He's certainly going to play a massive part in our future. So these 2 are very key to me. I have to keep them at the club. The rest are all expendable a little bit. I brought in a few youngsters, and you can see the potential on some of them is really good. So I did bring in a few youngsters and a few loans, but it's going to have to be a massive overhaul, and we're going to have to, I think, change the budget a little bit. So this is the tactic I went with in the end. Towards the end was the 4-4-2, and that's what brought me the most joy when Bub and Sol were playing well together. This was the counter-attacking one I used. It worked, but we struggled at points creating anything up front. And this is another one. This I played it attacking. It worked very well. You would win maybe 1-0. It wasn't one where you would go out and score lots of goals, but it did the job. So in the end, I'm pretty happy with what's happened. We're in May now. There's still a few fixtures to be played in the leagues, to round off the leagues. But in terms of our season is done. We survived, and then I think just the aim for next year really is to approach this with open eyes. I have to trust my scouts because there's going to be no budget whatsoever. I'm well aware of that. I don't know if I think I will come halfway through the season on the next one, because you just want to see if we get into the Football League. You don't really want to see every month in this level. But I have struggled at this level. I looked at guides and hints and tips and stuff, because if you don't know the players at this level, so ways to get scouting to find players, because I really struggled when it came to the transfer market, but there isn't that much on it. So if you could take any advice from what I've done, that's great. I've played the counter-attacking tactic, and I would suggest that may work if you've got the correct forward. But in my opinion, when you're at this level, if you're playing against a team that is the same, they could be prone to a mistake as well. Attacking football really does work at this level, because although you may be susceptible on the break, neither team has unbelievable stars, so you're not going to be completely opened up, especially midfielders at this level. But I would admit that packing the midfield always worked 9 times out of 10 through the game, them having less in the midfield. But that's all for this one. I just thought I'd update you. There's a lot changed, obviously. I'm at Woking now, and a lot has happened. I made a few decisions that maybe I could have probably progressed with MK Dons and just taken a step back from the save and trying different tactics, but I decided that it wasn't necessarily a team I wanted and that I would leave. So yeah, so I'm going to carry on and proceed with Woking. Whether I stay there, that remains to be seen. But I would like to I'd like to give it a shot at building the team. There isn't a lot of opportunities really, but I'll give it my best shot. But anyway guys, thank you for watching, and I'm sorry it's taken a while for this update. But yeah, cheers, thanks a lot, bye.